Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Bundesliga show. Welcome back to another prediction show, obviously bringing to you on a Thursday night. Hope everyone is doing well in the circumstances, and we can look forward to very exciting match day 25. I think this weekend in particular is loaded with huge games. So very much looking forward to it. Mark, how are you doing? You excited to be returning to the UK?
Yeah, I know. It's a big day tomorrow. After 26 months away from good old Blighty, I'm finally going to be back on British soil this time tomorrow. So yeah,
Love it.
yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to it, but it might be a little bit strange, after so long away and whatever. But yeah.
Good stuff. Of course, we are indeed in partnership with bullynews.com. Unfortunately, no Runa or FBL thinker this evening. Runa is a very busy man, and so he's not available this evening, but I'm sure he'll be watching in spirit. So, Runa, I hope you're doing well. But of course, yeah, we are in partnership with Bully News, which Runa is the editor-in-chief of, and who basically provides us with all our fantasy tips and know-how. So yeah, make sure you go check out their website for any of the articles in relation to Matchday 25, predicted lineups, more fantasy tips. Obviously, we'll be going through some that Runa has already very kindly sent over to us so that it looks like me and Mark know what we're talking about. So yeah, make sure you check out bullynews.com, and please do like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Numbers are trickling up nicely for us, so that's brilliant. Hope you're all enjoying the content that we deliver across the channel. And if you're around watching on Twitter or on YouTube, comment along, say hello wherever you're watching from, or if you've got any opinions on predictions or fantasy football, let us know this evening. Without further delay, let's crack on with some match day 25 predictions. So we will start with the Friday night game, which is obviously a very big one indeed. It's between Arminia Bielefeld and FC Augsburg. Massive for a number of reasons. Obviously, relegation, 6-pointer, if you will. I think you'd be forgiven for thinking that this would be a very an open-ended game. End-to-end, lots of kind of chances. Probably won't be. I think both teams would settle for a point, Bielefeld more so, but I'll just go for a 1-1 safe scoreline.
Yeah, I think it's a fair prediction, but I just think that Bielefeld, they have been very good recently, although last week's drubbing by Leverkusen was definitely the worst performance in a long time that we've seen, probably for 8-9 games, I would say, from them. But I still think they'll bounce back here. I just think they've got more quality than Augsburg overall. I think Augsburg away from home, they've struggled badly, let's be honest. I don't think they've got a single win on the road this season so far. They've got 2 or 3 draws in there, but I think Bielefeld will just nick this one. I think it could be a late goal, but I'm going for 2-1 Bielefeld.
Very good. On Saturday afternoon, and we've got another big one at the opposite end of the table. First versus third, Bayern Munich versus Bayer Leverkusen. Obviously, the reverse fixture was another fixture that was really kind of hyped up, and it didn't live up to the hype because Bayern had put 5 past Leverkusen before half-time, and it was a bit of an anticlimax. Don't think it will be the case this time, even the fact that it is at Bayern. Leverkusen, I hope, have learned a lot of lessons since then. And so, as a result, I'm going to go for a very entertaining 2-2 draw.
Yeah, I think this is a hard one, but, we have seen Bayern. They've not been great for 3 or 4 games now for me. I think, obviously, they lost a couple of games. They struggled to a draw in the Champions League away in Salzburg, which they were lucky to get a draw in that game, by the way. They were kind of, they won at Frankfurt last week, but it wasn't like a mind-blowingly good performance, although they did deserve to win the game. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's a different kind of game this time, because I think Leverkusen, as you say, they will learn lessons from that. They'll come back smarter. Sione is a good coach. He will know what he's doing. I don't know. I've just got a funny feeling that Leverkusen are going to nick this one. I've gone for a 3-2 away win. But this is one of your Bundesliga classics. And if you're a Bundesliga fan, you've got to watch this game. It's going to be good. You can more or less guarantee goals, I would say, and I think 3-2 away side.
Yeah, I think as long as they don't play out from the back as much, Leverkusen, I think they'll be
Yeah,
fine, which is
true,
a
true.
mistake that they sadly learned last time around.
Yeah.
Okay, good stuff. Moving on, Saturday afternoon, another big game, this time involving teams chasing that so sought after fourth place. It's RB Leipzig at home to SC Freiburg. Both teams looking towards those Pokal semi-finals after midweek. Both be buzzing. They might be playing each other very soon in the semi-finals, depending on the draw. So yeah, I mean, they're level on points in the league. Leipzig are flying at the moment. Freiburg have recovered from a bit of a blip or dip to now kind of be back on form. So yeah, really hard one to call this. So I think it will be a close one, of course it will, but the way that Leipzig playing football right now, I can't really see past them. Brought on by their home support, I'm going to say a narrow 2-1 home win.
Yeah, I just think again, like both sides are on really good form. Actually, both sides obviously into the cup semi-final, as you say. Both sides are looking back to the very best, I would say, at the minute. Especially Leipzig, who have just been flying really since Tedesco came in. Yeah, and I agree with you, Rory. I just think ultimately Freiburg will fight and they could keep it tight for a period of the game, but I just think there's too many goals. There's too much quality in this Leipzig side of the minute. They're into the quarterfinals of the Europa League too, obviously as a result of the situation regarding Spartak Moscow. But yeah, I just think, that their season could end up being brilliant. They could even end up with 2 trophies. I think they're that good at the minute. I'm going for a 3-1 home win and just the momentum to keep going for the home side.
Very good. Another Saturday afternoon game is Wolfsberg at home to Union Berlin. Obviously, Wolfsberg have been throwing away a few leads of late and a few chances of some big wins. Not completely safe just yet, not mathematically speaking, but they probably won't be looking over their backs as much as they were against a rejuvenated Union Berlin, who are also in the semi-finals of the Pokal. Could also be, a famous season for them. So again, yeah, Wolfsberg have kind of got themselves back on board, and I see it as a bit of a free shot for both teams. So I'd like to think it'll be another open game. And I still don't think Wolfsberg will probably claim that win. So I've gone for another 2-2 draw.
Yeah, I think this is a tough one, really, because, obviously Union have got the season right back on track this week with 2 wins, in the league and then obviously in the cup. Admittedly, it was against a fighter team, but still a good win for them. I just think, I don't know. I think if it was a couple of months ago and they still have Max Kreuzer, I would go with Union. But obviously, one of the big things that we didn't mention is the fact that Kreuzer is playing against his former club here, know. And I think, obviously, he loved his time in Berlin. Like, he made that very, very clear, And I think it was very much a financial move, the reason why he went to Wolfsburg. But I just think, I think it's going to be a draw, I agree. But I would go with a 1-1 draw here. But I think both sides would be relatively happy with that at the moment.
Yeah, good stuff. Then on to Herta versus Frankfurt, and this is probably a hard game to predict, but because the fact that both teams are having a wobble, certainly Herta are having more of a wobble than Frankfurt are. So the home side obviously still winless in 2022, completely ingrained into this relegation dogfight. Had some interesting insights from our friend of the show, Ed, who's obviously a Herta fan. He was saying to me on Twitter just the other day that he thinks they're gone, which is amazing that he said that with 10 games to go. So Ed's obviously feeling the heat based on Herta's form. He can't see that they're turning it around, and I semi agree with him. It'll be a tough game for them. Frankfurt might see it as a way to bounce back from their indifferent form as well. And based on the injuries that Herta have got, obviously having to play their 4th choice goalkeeper the other weekend, unless that situation is dramatically improved, I'm going for a 3-1 away win.
Yeah, I've actually gone for the same score, Rory. Yeah, I just think you're right in saying that like Frankfurt haven't been good for a while now, but they've not been dreadful at the same time. They've just been struggling to get that result. I mean, performance-wise, they're below where they should be, but they're not absolutely dreadful. Herta, on the other hand, are dreadful at the minute. That's for sure. Like, they've been absolutely abject the last 3 or 4 games. I can't think of any other word, really. I mean, they've been so bad. And I just think, Frankfurt probably aren't going to have to do that much to win this game, I don't think. I think it's a good chance for Frankfurt to get back on track. And they're not completely out of the Europa Conference League place chasings just yet, but they need to win this game if they want to get in the top 7 or 8 or so.
Good stuff. Okay, moving on. So our next game, again, great kind of importance on this game is VfL Bochum at home to Greuther Fürth, the battle of the newly promoted teams, if you can still call them newly promoted. I guess you kind of say last chance saloon for Fürth to start really, trying to push up ahead out of relegation. Tricky for them to go away to Bochum, who are so good at home. Very unlucky to go out in the Pokal quarterfinals just the other night. Very, very solid team. Bochum look right now, they look very organised and very hard to beat. And for that reason, if I can locate my score for them, I'm going to go for a narrow but well-earned 1-0 home win.
Yeah, I think this one is a big game for Bochum. I think for Fürth, it's like last chance saloon, as you say, really, for them. I mean, if they do get a win, for the first away win of the season, it would be, then they will just about be clinging on, especially with the good home form to go on the back of at the minute as well. 6-7 unbeaten at home. But yeah, their away form hasn't been very good, and they've still been losing most of their away games quite comfortably, really. Obviously, 4-1 at Wolfsberg and 4-1 at Bayern, the last 2 away games. But yeah, I just think there's a lot of pressure on Bochum here because they're only 6 points clear, actually, of the playoff relegation place. So, they're not completely safe. But for me, a win here would take them to 32 points, and they'd need a disastrous last 8-9 games to go down from there. And I agree with you. I've also gone for a mirrored scoreline there, 1-0 to the home side.
Very good. Yeah, we've agreed on a few so far this week. And the late game on Saturday is VfB Stuttgart versus Borussia Mönchengladbach. A game that, again, has great importance for the home side. Obviously, my boys kept on kind of predicting that they might grab a point here and there, and I keep on saying, this game's a must-win, this is a must-win, but I really feel like this is a must-win. Gladbach, I really hope that the Gladbach team turn up with, without their defensive heads on and allow Stuttgart to get a few free goals, because at the moment they can't hold lead. Stuttgart, they're not scoring many goals at all, but they've got that trio, that spearhead of Thiago Thomas, Sasa Kalajdzic and Omar Marmoush, which give them a bit more attacking potency. And this Gladbach team we've seen can ship goals if they're not in the right kind of headspace for it. A good atmosphere will really hope the home team, on a Saturday evening. So I really hope that they're up for it. And again, completely predicting with my heart rather than my head. I'm saying a 2-1 home win to Stuttgart to kick start the race to safety, hopefully, for them.
Yeah, I think it's been a while since someone tipped Stuttgart to win a game, really, hasn't it? But to be honest, I was also toying with a Stuttgart win here as well, because I do actually think they've been quite good. I watched the game last week again live against Hoffenheim, and I thought they were good, really, against a good Hoffenheim side, And, it was a side where both teams missed chances, but Stuttgart, they leading 1-0 after 85, you've got to find a way to win the game from there. At the very, very least, get a point. But really, you need to be winning with being ahead so late in the game. But yeah, I just worry about the mentality at the end of games, as you say. They could have easily got 6 points from the last 2 games, and they've only taken 1. So, it's just, and I think Gladbach, we know that they've got quality up top, and they've also been a little bit better. So maybe I'm being a bit generous there, but yeah, the last away game they did get stuffed 6-0 in Dortmund, though. So it's not all rosy for them. But I've actually gone for a 2-2 draw here. It should be another entertaining game, as often these Saturday evening games are in the Bundesliga. Yeah, for me, it's a 2-2 draw, this one.
Yeah, the problem is that Stuttgart can't keep on getting those 1-pointers, those 3 points are the things that are going to get you out of trouble. Anyway, enough about my boys. On to Sunday's fixtures. A good couple of tasty games. Starting off with Mainz at home to Borussia Dortmund. And of course, Dortmund may be buoyed or disheartened depending on what Leverkusen have already done on the previous day. So they'll know what level of pressure is already on them. Of course, the pressure is on them to keep on chasing this machine, this juggernaut that Bayern are. And it will be a difficult fixture away to Mainz. So obviously, we've spoken about how bad Mainz are on the road, but at home they are a different animal. All that being said, I think Dortmund will bounce back from the difficult week that they've had just gone and get a hard-earned win. I'm going to say a 3-1 away win.
Yeah, I mean, this is a hard one to take because we know that Mainz are rock solid at home, aren't they? I mean, they actually lost at home this season. I think they might have lost one game at home all season, and they've won most of the home games too. It's not like they've just been drawing a lot of games. They've won most of the home games. They've beaten the likes of Leipzig, Hoffenheim, Frankfurt. They've had a lot of good home wins in recent weeks, that's for sure. And for me, though, I think, Dortmund, it's a must win every game for me. The bottom line is they're going into this game 8 points behind the league leaders, Bayern. Bayern have also got probably an even harder game this weekend, So, I mean, but I would say that this weekend could be the weekend we look back and say, this really is the end of the title race. If Bayern win and Dortmund don't win, then for me, it's absolutely curtains,
Mm-hmm.
But for me, I just think Mainz have got enough to get a point in this game. I've gone for a 2-2 draw because I just think Dortmund, they concede goals in pretty much every match, don't they? Although fair play to them, they have improved a little bit defensively in recent weeks. They've not conceded many in the last 3 or 4 games, that's for sure. But Mainz have got a lot of quality up top, and I just think 2-2 in this one.
2-2, very good. Okay, last game of the weekend, then we finish with FC Cologne. They host Hoffenheim. So Hoffenheim, still chasing that 4th place. Finish will be tricky given how well RB Leipzig are playing. But, of course, Leipzig got a really tough game this weekend as well. So Hoffenheim surely will be ready to pounce on anything they can. Obviously, having watched the game live last weekend, I wasn't overly impressed with Hoffenheim against, obviously, Stuttgart. But they are just at the moment, unlike last season, they are finding ways to win games where they probably shouldn't. Whereas last season they would have lost. They probably would have lost quite comfortably to Stuttgart last season because they would have given up. They wouldn't have had the same mentality. But at the moment, they just believe they're going to win every game. For that reason, I think that they will be able to do the same depending on the performance level at Cologne and get a narrow win. So I've gone 2-1 to Hoffenheim.
Yeah, interesting one there. Yeah, I agree that Hoffenheim probably haven't been quite as good overall in the last probably 2-3 weeks. But the last 2 wins they've had have been fortunate, but it shows the character in that squad now. I think they had the game against Wolfsberg was like a carbon copy, really, of the game against Stuttgart. They were 1-0 behind, they were second best, but they got the equaliser and then they got the winner pretty much straight after. So, it's they've got a lot of character in there. Sebastian Hoeneß has really shown his quality this season and the team has shown the quality for long periods. But for me, this game is Cologne's, I think. I just think at home, they're another strong home side.
Yep.
They'll have a lot of fans in the stadium. And Hoffenheim are another one. There's a lot of teams this season are a lot stronger at home than they are away, actually. And these two are both prime examples of that. And for me, a 2-1 home win here.
Interesting stuff. Well, look forward to this weekend's games. Like I said, most games have got real importance on them. So I'm sure we'll be reviewing another fantastic match week on Monday night. So that wraps up the predictions. So we will obviously go on to our fantasy segment and cover Runa's kind of knowledge in as best level that we can. Before we do so, let's just quickly look at how we are all doing in terms of the fantasy league. I haven't actually really looked at my team in the last few weeks, I must admit, but I've actually gained a few spaces, so I don't know how that's happened. So obviously, Mark, you're in 209th still, I think. I'll have to obviously verify my checks in due course, or you can perhaps correct me. I know Runa has indeed dropped out of the top 10. He won't be pleased with that at all. So he'll be looking to bounce back, I'm sure, this week. And because Gladiator 11 has been pretty much dominating for a little while, we've adjusted the fantasy league leader table or banner to our top 3. So it is indeed Gladiator 11 who is in top spot, and in second place chasing Gladiator 11 we have Luke Kyle Walker FC, very good name, and even better named team in third place is Cruise Control. So well done to the top three as it stands at the moment. We will probably see a lot more change in that than we did the top one. So that's pretty much why we changed it, just to kind of give everyone else a bit of a shout out rather than just Gladiator 11 every week. So yeah, well done to everyone that's in the top three. Keep going at it. And yeah, let's look at some of the top 5 picks that Runa has sent over to us. So, Mark, do you want to just introduce each player, and I'll kind of do a bit of spiel about each player and why you may want to pick them?
Yeah, for sure. So obviously the first choice is a man from Gladback. It's that man, Rami Benzabaini, who obviously, I mean, last season he was one of the kind of big players, wasn't he, really? I mean, for Gladback, he was one of the kind of star men in their defence. This season, perhaps he hasn't had as good a season, but he has shown signs of improvement in recent weeks. So why did Runa go for him then, Rory?
Runa has kind of obviously sent over the information to us. He's a player that, you know, not fairly, he's a bit of a differential, I guess you can say, at 3%, but still quite an expensive, defender at 10.9 mil. And again, if you kind of from Gladbach 6-0 embarrassing defeat to Dortmund, they came back last weekend and earned a really good 2-2 draw with Woolsberg, and now have a lot more favourable schedule ahead of them back. Of course, as Runa has put it, facing crisis hit Stuttgart and Herta in the next 2 games. Very well put, to be fair. So, you know, on paper, he looks like a good player to kind of put forward. Benzabaini has, demonstrated his good value as a fantasy asset in, recent weeks. He gets forward really well. He does get you points, gets the odd goal here and there. Although he is only 1 yellow card away from being suspended, so you may want to, keep an eye on that one. So that is why you should maybe pick Rami Benzabaini this weekend.
Yeah, for sure. And then the next tip is obviously it's that man, Danny Almo, isn't it? I mean, a player who, last season was probably one of the shining lights in the Bundesliga, but obviously didn't get off to a very good start this season under Jesse Marsch at all, did he? Obviously struggled through the first half of the season, didn't make much impact in the early part of Marsch's stint, and then obviously got that injury which kept him out for, I think, 4 or 5, maybe 6 games. Yeah, but then obviously since the arrival of Daniel Tedesco, he's really well and truly turned on the form, hasn't he? And he's shown his quality. So why should he be included in the team then?
Well, as you quite rightly say there, Mark, because of his form, basically. Recent weeks have been racking up the points, racking up 2 goals, 3 assists in his last 3 Bundesliga games. And that's despite the fact that he's only come on as a sub in 2 of them. So that just goes to show how efficient he's been in his gameplay. He obviously just neatly kind of knits together the way that RB are playing right now under Tedesco. He obviously, as you can tell, he is being rotated out of the team at times. Easy for me to say. But hopefully once they get the international break out of the way, he'll, have a lot more time to kind of bed into match fitness and be a little bit more used to it. Obviously, there's no Europa League last 16 game because of the Spartak Moscow game being cancelled, so there won't be the threat of having to play twice a week. So yeah, he's a bit dearer at 12.6 mil. 10% of people have him, but certainly could be a player to put in for the rest of the season as RB Leipzig go from strength to strength with 10 games to go, and will probably push for at least a top 4 finish.
Yeah, for sure. And then obviously the next choice is a bit of a fantasy football legend, really, isn't he? It's that man, Phillip Costage. Obviously, the wing back / wide forward, really, you could probably call him nowadays. Phillip Costage from Eintracht Frankfurt. Last season, I think he was in just about everyone's team of the season. He's probably not quite as good overall this season, but he's still been one of Frankfurt's key men, especially when they had that good run of form just before Christmas. I mean, they were killing it at that time. And they obviously, Frankfurt side, a little bit off form at the moment. I think they've lost like 3 out of the last 4 games now, which is a bit worrying for Oliver Glasner's men. But why should we include Phillip Costage in our teams then?
There's no great detail into this one, to be frankly honest. It's just because Costage is, as you say, quite a big fantasy league legend. He's always an option worth considering now that you've got the buy-in game out of the way. He is, of course, high end in terms of price, 17.6 million. But obviously the player gets around the pitch everywhere, is very reliable, always involved in anything good that Frankfurt do. So that is certainly why you should pick Costage if you want to. I'm a bit of a gamble, I guess, but of course he's always a very safe player.
Yeah, absolutely. And then it's one of your men next, Rory, Omar Mamouche. Obviously, I mean, he's always looked good to me when I've seen him, but he does kind of, for me, lack the goals a little bit. Obviously it's his first proper season. I think they signed him permanently now, right, from Woolsberg. I know he was originally on loan, but I think they made that deal permanent at some point as well. He's got pace, he's got a little bit of skill on the ball, but yeah, for me, doesn't always get enough goals or kind of goal contributions to make him like a real top player. But Rory, why should we include him in our teams this week?
Oh, because he's a legend. Because he, of course, that he is a variable and he is a gamble to put into a team. He's a cheap option, 3.7 mil, and obviously only 1% of players have him in their teams. Everything you said there, Mark, is right. He's got a bit about him. He's pacey. He's taken 13 points from his last 2 games. He has played well, obviously without really getting the end product, unfortunately. And now looking ahead, Stuttgart, we do as a team. Saying we, but Stuttgart have a good run of fixtures now coming up. It's a really important spell for them. If anyone's going to get goals, it's going to be inside that kind of triangle of strikers, like I mentioned, and there's no reason why Mamouche can't pick up where he started the season, because he started the season quite well when there was no Sasa Kalajic or indeed Thiago Tomas.
Yeah, and then the last choice is another 3 players from that one fixture in the tips this week. It's another man from Gladback, Alassane Plea. Obviously, yeah, last season, another one. A lot of the players were kind of superstars last season, but maybe a lot of these guys haven't had quite as good seasons overall. But Plea has definitely shown signs of improvement in form. I think last week's performance was probably, for me, the best of the season, certainly that I can remember that we've seen from him. He had a really, really good game, didn't he? And he looked like back up for it, really, which we haven't seen much. Last season, he had goals, he had a lot of quality, especially in the Champions League. He kind of lit it up, didn't he? But this season, as Gladback, really just haven't really shown up to the party, really, have they, for long periods? But Rory, why should we stick him in our teams this week?
Well, mainly off the back of such an immense performance, really, last weekend. Again, he is a player that there is a lot expected of him. 14.9 mil. He's not a cheap player to have, but apparently 0% of people have him in their team. Obviously, that doesn't mean no one has them in their team. Has player in the team, but he is very much not a player that is used currently. Again, obviously, Gladbach playing Stuttgart, very wobbly defense right now. So if he plays at the same level, there's a very good chance he could get some more assists and goals. His 22 points that he racked up last weekend, obviously including the 2 brilliant assists, was only he came in second in terms of player points behind Baumgartner, who happened to also do over Stuttgart. He could well finish the season really strongly and push Gladbach further up the league. He's a player with incredible talent, so there's no reason why he shouldn't do. So he is another player that could get you some good points over these next few weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, that pretty much kind of sums up the rest of the show then, doesn't it, really? Yeah. So remember to get those players stuck in your team. Runa definitely knows his stuff alongside FBL Thinker, obviously, as well. Remember to get those tips in your teams and you'll find yourself flying up the table, I'm still playing catch-up. I did actually kind of get a couple of places higher up the table. I think I was 206th last week, but I had an absolute mare this weekend. Oh, God. I took the risk and I think I put I stuck Haaland in hoping that he was going to be fit, but he didn't end up being fit. Yeah, so that was my kind of big gamble, really, and it didn't pay off this week. But yeah, better luck this week, hopefully, let's say. Okay, so guys, if you enjoyed what you saw this week, obviously check out at Over the Bar FB and at Over the Bar Extra. Also visit our main site, otbfootball.net, which is like the centerpiece of all of our work. And obviously remember to like, comment, and subscribe, because that helps us with the algorithm, and it also allows us to put more and more good stuff out there for you. So thanks a lot, guys. And yeah, I guess the next show I'll be doing from the UK for the first time ever in OTB Bundesliga show history. I'll be doing the show from the United Kingdom. So yeah, enjoy that. Yeah. And yeah, I guess I'll see you guys on Monday then.
See you then.